Todd here. So today I'm out scouting again for another upcoming project, but I want to talk a little bit about traveling as a photographer, professional photographer. 90% of what I do is get on a plane and go shoot something someplace, shoot the job, got to travel with gear. Just some tips that I think help that travel process, help you get through it and save your body. I've been doing this a long time, and I can feel the wear and tear on my body for doing this job that I love. So let's get to those tips now. All right, so let's get to these tips. My first tip number one, arrive to the airport early. If you just make sure you get there early, and usually I travel with a lot of bags, and you just never know what's gonna happen when you get there, how the lines are gonna be, and you gotta check everything in, and there's always some sort of little hiccup at the airport. So I just get there early. I've got time to get a coffee. I do check my emails. I just kind of relax, zone out. Yeah. Tip number one, get to the airport early. Number two, get yourself signed up with the TSA pre-check. It's a must-have to get you through the airport faster. They've got Clear now. I've yet to sign up for that. I just don't know. It's not everywhere yet, and the TSA is obviously the TSA pre-check, and you've got global entry, which is nice too. But if you're not traveling internationally with your gear and working and all that, and you're not stressed because you're on the job, that one you really don't need. But the TSA pre-check, definitely get that. It's a must for me. You get through the line quicker, plus they don't check your bag, open all the lens caps and make sure the cameras fire, all the other stuff you can go through when you're going through the regular TSA check line. It's just a much speedier process, and it's a must for me. I've been pre-check for years. So definitely do that one. Tip number three, use a roller bag for your gear if you can. I use these ThinkTank airport security bags. I take 2 of them with me. They're great, and that way I don't have backpack full of gear on my back and all that weight. I've been doing this for a lot of years, and I've carried a lot of crap on my shoulders and my back, so I try to avoid that at all costs now. So if you can use these roller bags with your gear, it's the best way to go, I believe. It's what I do. If you're traveling internationally, they make an airport or international bag, because the size when you check in internationally, your carry-on needs to be a little bit smaller, so they make the smaller size for that. And and if you're traveling international, check all that stuff out before you go, all those regulations, so you're not caught in having to check this thing. But roller bags, a must for me. Number 4, I always carry my cameras and lenses on with me. It's a must for me. So when you get to a job, you get there and your luggage doesn't show up, all your other equipment, which has happened to me on a couple of occasions, which is not a good experience. But at least if you've got your cameras with you and your lenses, you can, change the location, shoot outside, start shooting outside while you source gear or whatever, fix that situation, what you're missing. Because it's not a good situation. I've had it happen internationally to me, and I've had it happen in the States a few times, and it's always a mad scramble. But at least I've got my cameras, my lenses, my cards, and I can at least start the job and get things to happen. Number 5, Always check out what airline you're flying, how they're working their seating, how they're doing their boarding. Pay for the whatever it is, $30 to get the extra seat, extra space seat. That way you get on the plane early. You want to get on the plane early so you get that overhead compartment for your gear. I always do that. The clients don't pay for first class. Internationally, you can get business class usually, but most clients aren't going to, or this now, they don't pony up for the extra legroom a lot of the times. I mean, some jobs I can do that, but a lot of them, they just aren't going to pay that extra expense to fly you in. They're flying you in anyway, and now they're just not going to pay for that super upgrade for you. But usually you can get away with, like on Southwest, you paid $16 a flight or whatever, and you're always on the A list, so you get in right away. And I fly a lot of Delta, Alaska, and you could just pay, I think it's $30 a flight to upgrade your seat. And that way you get on the plane early, you get that overhead compartment, you don't have to worry about that. I don't like stressing over the fact that I need to get an overhead compartment to get both my roller bags on there. And fortunately, for me, my wife travels with me, so she brings the other bags so I can get the 2 big carry-on bags on there, because they wouldn't let me carry both of those on by myself. So there are, going back to the backpack thing a little bit, there are times where I do carry a backpack with cameras and lenses and this as well, but I avoid that as much as I can. Number 6, get yourself hooked up with all the rental car places so you're preferred and you just go right to your car and you don't have to go to the counter. Hertz, Avis, Budget, whatever, get hooked up with them. I'm a big Hertz guy. You got the gold President's Circle. You just go there, you pick your car, and you get in and leave. That's a great thing. Avoid the lines there. It speeds the whole process up, and it just gets set up with those things. Number 7, if you're traveling international, use a car service to pick you up. It's great. They're standing there with a sign. I mean, you can do it in the States too, but I always get a rental car wherever I go just because I don't like using Uber or Lyft or whatever, or taxis. In New York, even then, I still get a rental car, and that way I can always get to where I need to go right away. But internationally, I always use a car service. It's a much safer process in some areas. I've been in Brazil a couple times, and I've had to use Uber there, and when you're traveling with all your gear and stuff, it's just safer to have the car service. More expensive, granted, but it is a much safer, nicer ride to and from the airport when you're traveling. And number 8, do all your research for your grip and rental houses before you go. That's kind of a no-brainer, but you do all that research, get everything, set up, all your certificates of insurance you got to get to rent the gear, have that all taken care of before you go. And you can usually call any kind of camera store locally there or whatever, and if they don't have a rental place internally at there, they ask them and they'll give you the information. But get yourself set up with whatever grip you need. I never travel with stands. I bring a lot of my own lights with me, and then rent stands, or it depends on the job what I do bring, but most of the time I don't bring any stands, and I'll either have the assistant I'm getting locally, grab some stands or whatever, rent them and bring them, and depending on how quick you've got to be in and out of that city that you're shooting with. But do all your research. for your grip places, rental places before you travel. Number 9, fly the next day. Try not to fly on the same day that you're shooting. It just is so much less stress if you're flying the next day. That way you're not thinking about it, towards the end of the day of your shoot. You're going, oh God, I got to get to the airport. I got to return the car, blah, 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 blah. You just fly the next morning. That way you go have dinner with the client, celebrate the shoot, whatever, that kind of thing. Spend a little time in the city, but it just takes the stress off, and you fly the next day, boom, no problem, less stress. So number 10, bring backups to everything if you can. Bring extra camera bodies if you have them. I usually have 2, possibly 3 bodies with me most of the time. Multiple lenses with zoom lenses. It'll cover some of your primes. If something breaks, somebody drops something accidentally, you just want to have a backup so you can move forward. I usually, if I'm renting gear, I'll rent one more of what I think I need, just so I've got a backup in case something goes down. That way the job can always keep running. So you just bring backups. It's good to have. You bring a little bit more with you, but the peace of mind, it's worth the extra bag or extra case that you've got with you to have that good peace of mind. Okay. Oh, and number 11, bonus tip here. I don't know why I put up 7, but number 11, a bonus tip here, which I forgot, is hard drives. Bring multiple hard drives so you back up the job to 2, 3, I usually back it up to 3 hard drives, and sometimes I even give to the producer a hard drive if they're flying someplace different. That way we've got, multiple copies in different areas in case anything tragic happens, God forbid. But that way you've got the thing covered, and then I put a hard drive in one bag that I'm carrying on, and then another one just in case, someone steals a case or something, you're not losing that job. So multiple backups, back up everything. It's just super, super important. Oh, and number 12, double bonus tip here. Take the first flight out in the morning if you can. I know it's early. They're usually 6 a.m. flights, they're brutally early, but they're almost always never delayed. And you get out early, you get to the town early, and you can spend a little time looking around, and just get that early morning flight, and you'll skip the delays. Although in the start of this video, when I'm traveling to the airport, my flight was delayed and it was an early morning flight. So good early morning flight, and if you can stay a couple extra days on the front end or the back end, if you're someplace cool, that's what I always like to do. Fortunately for me, my wife travels with me most of the time, and we usually try and put a little fun on the front end or the back end of every job if we can. And just makes it a little more enjoyable, especially if you're in some really cool place, Hawaii or you're in Europe or whatever. It's just good. So those are my tips. Hopefully they help you. If you're already using them, that's great. It's just what I've learned over the years that makes my travel much easier, which I do a lot of. So yeah, till next time, I'm out.
Jennifer, I'm going to travel to Portland for like 13